Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole. As always, honored to be here with you now. So, this is check in time. How are you doing? How are you feeling? If you really ask yourself, take the temperature of you. How are things going? Do you quiet yourself enough to really notice? Because sometimes we are so busy that we don't even take the time to pay attention. How do I feel in my body? How do I feel in my mind? How how am I being in this moment? Sometimes the busyness of life makes it so that we don't even notice those things, but they're so incredibly important. I was thinking about where we are now and all the things going on in our world, which a lot. This For those of you who are watching this, in real time, today is President's Day, and so that means a whole lot of things, right? It's different. These are different times. I remember originally, many years ago, before there was a President's Day, a day that was honored on the actual day was George Washington, first president of the United States, was his birthday, which was February 22nd. And the only reason I know that is because that is my sister Susan's birthday, the eldest of the three of us. And we just thought it was so interesting that she was born on the same day as the president. So back when we were little girls, that would be a day off, George Washington's birthday. And then as holidays became organized in a different way, and the government gives you that Monday, whatever that Monday is, to have off from work, it got reoriented to not be on his day, not to be his day, but President's Day. But I remember it every year because it's time that we celebrate my sister. It's also the based on the theme that I've given for this week, be a leader in your life. It's also a time when if we think about it at all, we think about leadership, because that was the first president of this country. This country, in its short life, this is the 250th anniversary this year of the creation of the United States. But the promise of this country was that people could come here and prosper, that there was space for everybody to be who they authentically are and to feel safe and to feel that the opportunity exists for each and every one of us to fully emerge into ourselves, whatever that means. The promise of democracy, and that the leadership here would be such that whoever the leader was, that space would be created for people to be able to breathe, to be able to think, to be able to be their best selves. All those songs that we have, the national anthem and other poems that became songs from early on, have that promise written into them, that it's possible for all of us to be, to imagine and then be whatever is in our imagination, which is a pretty bold thing to put forth and has been a driving force since the beginning, 250 years ago. Now we know there's a whole lot that's been in the mix that hasn't meant that it was equal for everyone. It's not equal for everyone now, but the promise was that it would be. So I was thinking about that. What does it mean today? What does it mean under the leadership that is in place today? And not just in the government, because there's that, which is a whole big topic that we could, unpack forever, and many people are. But here on inspiration, I like for us to look at ourselves. What is our role in whatever's going on in our world? What can we do individually and collectively to make a difference in the world, even when it may seem like, well, what can we possibly do? Because here are these forces much greater than we are getting in the way. But we can. And that's how I got to be a leader in your life. What are you doing in your life for yourself, for others? And what does it even mean to be a leader anyway? Does it mean that you're waving a flag that says you're in charge of something? Is it important for there to be a title attached to whatever leadership is? Do people need to know I'm the leader, I'm in charge? Um, that's not how I grew up. That's not what I learned. Of course, there are roles that people that have titles, that have assignments, and that sometimes the assignments are public. And so people do know the leader of an organization, the leader of a business, the leader of a club, the leader of a congregation, the leader of a family. Of course, there are roles where it is known that someone is so-called in charge of whatever the body might be. But also, at least the way that I grew up, there was this understanding that to be a leader was to inspire other people. To be a leader, and I think now they call it servant leader, was to do good, to 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 treat people well, to even under the most extreme circumstances, to find ways to inspire others toward greatness. Even if something really bad has happened and it just seems like everything is falling apart, that a true leader is one who lifts up, who looks for ways to get others to envision something better for themselves and those around them, no matter where they are. And often that can be done silently behind the scenes. It doesn't need to be something where there's a loud a boombox, an amplification. Sometimes those things are done best quietly, where nobody knows. I remember, um, well, my father was a leader. He had many very public roles, but we learned after his death of all these things that he had done to support other people that no one knew about. And he was a lawyer first, and I posted this the other day. He and several of his friends were part of a law firm early on in the 1950s, and they did a lot of criminal cases and civil cases. And a lot of times people didn't have any money, and this was way before the civil rights movement. This was in the 50s. Things are heating up. There's a lot of extremely negative stuff happening, especially for Black people. And a lot of them didn't have any money. And we learned that my father often would do pro bono work where he did not get paid because people didn't have money. So they would do something in kind, offer a service, or if they had food, they would bring a dish. They do something to acknowledge their gratitude, but often they didn't have the money. And not having the money did not make my father turn them away. So there were all kinds of people expressing gratitude for his generosity, and we had no idea. There were so many people who told us of how generous he was, and we really thought of him mainly as being very strict. Generosity was not necessarily it certainly wasn't the first word that I thought of when I thought of him. I thought of him as strict and specific, and, you know, he taught us to pursue excellence, but generosity is something that bubbled forth, and it bubbled forth after he passed because he didn't seek accolades for it. He just did good things for people on a regular basis. Now, my mother, I've talked about her many times, Doris, was just exuberance personified. She was always helping other people. She was always figuring out ways to make people smile and to inspire them. But also, she didn't present herself as a leader. She really presented herself as love. And the love that she offered buoyed so many. But when you go back and think about it, when I go back and think about it, I realized that this was an exemplification of leadership. And one of the things that she taught my sisters and me, both of them did, was that we had to be responsible for ourselves. We had to make smart choices. That's something I tell my daughter all the time. Make smart choices, make smart choices. And that we had to trust we had the best knowledge in any group where we might be. And so to trust ourselves first. This is something that I have been imparting to my daughter since she was a little girl. And what I would say, which is, I'm telling you this because of the topic this week, what I would say is to her is be the leader in your group. Even with your little bitty thing, say be the leader in your group. And what that means is nobody needs to know. You're not walking around going, I'm in charge. Not at all. What what I told her, what I expect of her is to have her eyes open and look around. What does the moment call for? Whatever's going on in the moment where you find yourself, what does that moment call for? What is needed now? What's the smart choice for this moment? And I tell her, trust herself more than anybody else in the group. And if a bad decision is about to be made, if something is potentially about to happen that could be the opposite of beneficial, that could be hurtful to someone or to the whole group, how can you get the group to think differently so that you can make a smart choice? And over the years, I have watched my daughter put that into action when in a group somebody wants to do something that could be dangerous, it could be harmful, it could just be unkind, unintelligent. I she will come back and tell me, "This was happening, and here's what I did to try to make it better." And many times, it has worked to not only her advantage, but the advantage of the group. That is not to say my child is the most brilliant one. This is a message that is for all of us. Trust yourself first. What does the moment call for? And how can you lead in that moment? It does not mean that you're waving the flag that I'm the leader. It doesn't mean that you say, I'm in charge, do what I say. Not at all. Kind of the opposite. It's through your energy, through your posture, through the way you communicate, and through your thinking. Where you maybe you pause to think this through a little bit more than the friend standing next to you, and what did you come up with? If you think this through, what would be the consequences of your actions? Being a leader means paying attention and inspiring others, or at least that is what I believe. And so I found a quote that unpacks it a little bit more, and I want to share it with you now. There are lots of quotes about leadership, as you can imagine, but this one I thought was particularly inspiring. So, Fallon, let's look at that quote. It says, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. This is from John Quincy Adams, who was a president of the United States many moons ago. So listen to this. I want you to take this in. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Isn't that beautiful? And it's so different from what I think many people imagine being a leader is. As a leader, you're going to do this, you're gonna corral people and get them to do that. You're gonna get people to do what you want. Eh, and that's a type of leadership, but the kind of leadership that I think is valuable is quiet and powerful at the same time. If your actions inspire others to learn more, to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and become more, you are a leader. And think about how you go through life and what you do and what you say and how you interact with other people. Do you think that this could be true for you? I work with young people a lot. Ever since, well, how I got to New York City was by creating internships for myself. And so I was the young one learning, offering. And so for my entire career, I've had young people with me. I learned from them, but also it's the give back. How can I inspire them to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more? And invariably, when you work with people for a period of time, regardless of their age, but I'm mentioning young people right now, you find sometimes we have ups and downs, we have highs and lows, and sometimes you feel like, is it worth it? Should I give up now because I don't know that I can reach whatever my goal is, that the dreams can sometimes shrink because of life circumstances, that is it even worth it to try to dream when you can't pay the bill that's in front of you, when a relationship crumbles, when, when things happen that make you doubt the possibilities or that there are possibilities for you. Yeah, maybe there are possibilities for that person over there or that one over there, but for you, do you deserve to have possibilities? Do you deserve to dream? Is there space in your world for you to actually dream? Do you think that you deserve to take the time to do that? John Quincy Adams says, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. So I want to ask you, look at your life. Look at the people in your life. Who's in your life right now? Think about who's in your world at this moment and how are you engaging those people? Think about the people who might get under your skin, who irritate you, who frustrate you. Think about the people where you don't feel that loving relationship that you may have felt um, for them at a certain time, or even that you do feel for other people. The ones where it's tough. Think about those people and what can you do to inspire them? Rather than feeling friction, brittleness, disconnection, anger, frustration, what can you do to inspire them? And let me say hi to D'Angelo and Tamara. Hello. And hello to all of you who are connected now. Tell me where you are. I'm in Harlem. Where are you? I'm in Harlem and it's getting slightly warmer. So happy for that. Uh, think about the people in your life. Think about those people who can be problematic in your life. And what can you do? How can your actions inspire them to greatness? Those very people who frustrate you the most, those very people who you just wish sometimes, oh, if that person were not in my life, things would be better. Think of that. Tomorrow's in Atlanta. Bet you it's warm-ish there. Um, think about the people who get under your skin. I know you don't really wanna think about those people, but the people that you just love and wanna hug and enjoy being around, of course, it's gonna be easy for you to think of things that you may be able to do that will inspire them, but what about the other people, right? Um, D'Angelo says, "This is great. I need to set up for back-to-back meetings." Keep going. Yeah, okay. Thank you for joining us. Um just a moment of inspiration is good. Thank you, D'Angelo, for taking a moment. That's what this is. In the intro to this, it says that take a time for a pause. The pause that we take together, even if it's just for a few minutes, can be so meaningful because it's a pause for yourself. It's a pause for you to say, I am pausing for me. I'm pausing for my heart. I'm pausing to connect to the greatness within me and within others. When you speak to that greatness that's in others, what happens? Great things happen. When you become super critical of others, they become critical of you. It's what happens. It's life. We you reap what you sow. Isn't that what it says in the Bible? If you what you put out there is what you're going to get back. So what are you putting out there? If you put out there the energy to uplift, the energy to inspire, the energy to help others get to the best possible place. That's what's going to happen. When you make smart decisions, others will feel inclined to make smart decisions too. Maybe not every single person, but a lot of people will. Oh, you notice if you're around people who have a certain way of being, even the people who have the worst behavior will often make the effort to show up with a little bit more decorum with those folks than how they normally are because they know, it's like for in front of your teacher. Well, I have to show up right before Mr. Brown because it's Mr. Brown. For your minister, for the elders in the family, how you show up with respect for people who present themselves in a way that deserves respect, right? So, how do you offer that respect to yourself and to others? I believe like being a leader in your life, looking for ways to amplify, looking for ways to uplift, looking for ways to inspire people to greatness is one of the most powerful things that you could ever do. And I'm saying this, I'm in a good space today. I can tell you when I'm mad at somebody, when I'm frustrated, when I'm tired, when I'm worried, it's not easy to do. Sometimes you want to hold on to that goodness. No, I don't want to share. You don't deserve it. All these things you check off the list, you did all these things to me, at me, for me, um, to my loved ones. You don't deserve whatever the good thing is. I want to challenge us when we feel that way, take a breath. Take a breath, look around, and challenge yourself. How can you offer love and goodness to people who make you mad? To people who you would really like to scream at or run away from? And by the way, because as I'm saying this right now, I'm hearing some voices of people who I love and respect who say, "Well, but if you don't speak up, then what happens? You don't wanna let people walk over you." So let me be very clear. I am not suggesting that if people are meaning harm to you, doing harm, speaking poorly to you, being disrespectful, that you should act like that isn't happening. That is not what I'm saying. Plenty of times you have to stand up and stand for whatever you believe and require people to be respectful to you. That is true. At the same time, you don't have to destroy them. You don't have to destroy their hearts. You don't have to be unkind. You have to be strong. You have to be clear. You may need to say, I'm walking away. This is unhealthy. You can walk away from other people without making them roadkill. I've talked about this before. Sometimes we can be so intensely impacted by someone's behavior, words, whatever they're doing, that we can be mean. And sometimes being mean can destroy others. That's what I'm suggesting you don't need to do. You can be strong and loving. You can be strong and draw a line, and say, you cannot be in my life anymore because you don't know how to treat me. You can be laser clear and sharp and protect yourself without destroying others. That is living and breathing leadership. It's not letting people take advantage of you. It's being strong. It's not becoming a punching bag for anybody. It's up. Sometimes we have to pause. It can be difficult to do, especially if you're one of those people who usually says nothing. You smile and just take it. That is not what I'm recommending. I'm not recommending that we let people treat us any way. Absolutely not. Actually, I'm recommending the opposite, that we can be so strong that and clear and focused that we go, this doesn't work in my life anymore. So you may be inspiring people to move on. When something isn't good for you, I am not suggesting that you just take it. I am suggesting that through strength and conviction, through leadership, you can move on yourself and you can possibly inspire whoever that is to make a different choice for themselves and for their life, and certainly for how they engage you. Because if you are strong and you are clear and you're so rooted, grounded in what you understand to be true and valuable for your life, that it becomes obvious to other people, then you are not the pushover that you may have been in the past, that you are not willing to let someone mistreat you. It could be the way they talk to you, the way they engage you, whatever it might be. And it's interesting, when you change your attitude, other people change too. I had a client once who was just abusive in her tone. She was condescending. All the people she talked to, she was condescending to them, including me. And this was a good contract. It was a good gig that I had for quite a bit of time, but I was hurting inside because of the way that she would talk to me. And I tried to figure out what to do. And after quite a bit of time, because it took a minute. So what I'm suggesting is not like 1, 2, 3. I just realized, this isn't worth it. If you can't talk to me better, then I can't do this. When I adopted that attitude, everything shifted. I said, I'm not going to do this anymore. I stopped doing it for a while. And she came back to me with a completely different attitude. I had stood up for myself, and she recognized that I was more valuable than the way she was treating me. I promise this was hard to do, but I did it and it worked. I think that it not only helped me, but it helped other people who work with her. So I'm saying to you, be a leader in your life. Start with yourself. How do you treat yourself? How do you treat other people, especially the ones who are difficult? Please know I am not saying that you should be a pushover for anyone, that you should bite your tongue if you need to speak up. But do your best to say something that is clear and inspiring so that when you walk away from people, they are not bleeding on the side of the road, but that they have some kernel of goodness that you've left with them that could help them to be a better person and help you to sleep at night because you know that you didn't do harm to them. You did your best to be good. I hope this inspires you. I see my friend Paul Porter there. Hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. I hope this is helpful to you. It's in the tough times that you want to use these life lessons that we explore here. Until next time, have a great day and make it count. Namaste.